Fast. I proclaimed a fast, that we might humble ourselves before our God. Ezra chapter 8 verse 21. Saturday of the 5th week of Lent. We all love new things, new clothes, a new car, a new phone or tablet, a new show or book. And in our on-demand society, we can usually get a hold of such things in no time at all. Rarely do any of us have to wait, to hunger for anything, at least not for very long. But sometimes in our pursuit of all things new, we lose sight of what is time-honored and precious from the past. And sometimes, thanks to instant gratification, we forget that some things are worth hungering for. This is why fasting is so important. Fasting is a precious tradition of the past. It has a deep spiritual and scriptural roots. My good friend Father Josh Johnson explains how fasting can be considered the very first commandment in the Bible, specifically in Genesis chapter 2 verse 17. When God asked Adam not to eat, in other words, to fast, from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. More than that, as a spiritual discipline, fasting is very powerful. By practicing self-denial, we can break free from the things and habits which steal our attention away from God. By saying no to the flesh, we can say yes to the eternal and respond to the movements of the Spirit within us. By experiencing physical hunger, we can better recognize our spiritual hunger for God, our need for intimacy with Him. If you are unfamiliar with fasting as a spiritual practice, I invite you to discover it now. Fasting can provide abundant fruit in our spiritual lives and have a profound effect on our ability to be more receptive to God. So, to prepare you for Holy Week, I am going to ask you to do something I've asked members of the Lenten Companion community to do before, and I will ask you to do again. Some of us may have already been going without a favorite food during Lent, like chocolate, candy, or snacks. In addition to those fasts, I invite you to fast in 3 distinct ways from now to Easter Sunday. Number 1, fast from using your smartphone. Before you reject this idea entirely, ask yourself, when is the last time you used your smartphone as just a phone? Let's be honest. How much time do we actually use our phones to distract or entertain ourselves? I'm not asking you to ignore your phone or to turn it off, but at least for next week, the holiest of weeks, reserve using your smartphones only for essential phone calls, emails, or text messages. Fasting from your smartphone will mean putting it on silent, no apps, no internet, no social media. You will find that it takes discipline and prayer to fast from these distractions. Number 2, fast from noise. This means no radio, no television, no music, no optional noise. Instead, intentionally choose and cultivate silence. Exterior silence helps us to become open to interior silence. I promise that you will discover 2 things in the silence. 1, you will realize just how distracting the everyday noise in your life really is. And 2, you will learn to recognize the quiet and subtle voice of God, who is always speaking to you, but usually has to compete with all the noise. Number 3, fast from food and alcohol. This means no alcohol from now to Easter Sunday. It also means for healthy individuals with no medical exceptions, limiting what you eat every day to the amount you would normally eat in just 2 meals combined, and no snacking. Eating less creates a hunger within us, and as I mentioned already, physical hunger deepens our spiritual hunger. In this way, we can create more space in our hearts for God to dwell. These requests may seem extreme. They may make you uncomfortable. Fasting itself is an uncomfortable practice. But from that discomfort, we have a real chance to draw closer to God in a way that we rarely experience in our day-to-day lives. Let's not forget, Holy Week is not like any other week. It is the week. And if I may be brutally honest, fasting for 1 week from your phone and noise and alcohol and a little food seems like a small sacrifice compared to how much God has sacrificed for us. For your prayer, stay here for an additional 10 minutes. Today read and pray with the Gospel for the procession with palms, which you will hear tomorrow on Palm Sunday, Mark chapter 11 verses 1 to 10. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you see what the people in the crowd saw and hear what they heard. Imagine the scene unfolding as it does in the Bible, but imagine that you are there in the crowd. What stirs within you? What will help you welcome the Lord and stay close to Him this week?